So welcome everyone. I know you've had probably quite the day and your life is probably in upheaval and in change. Maybe some of you have settled into this new normal. I know I'm excited about it. I wanted to check in with you and actually before we do anything, just know I've got you muted over here. I am going to suggest that we take what's called a mindful moment. I know we get together here to meditate, but you can practice taking a mindful moment anytime. And here's how we do it. As long as you're not operating heavy machinery or being somewhere dangerous where you have to keep your eyes open, I invite you to close your eyes. And I don't know about you, but when you close your eyes, I begin to deepen my breath naturally. So I invite you to do the same. Deepening your breath. Noticing how you're feeling. Letting go of the residue of earlier projects or concerns. Letting go of your to-do list just for a little bit. And practicing being right here, right now. You might tune into your senses, as they're always a great way to lose your mind and tap into your senses. Noticing what you hear. Noticing the sensation of sitting here, maybe noticing where your feet and your hands are. And simply bringing your attention to this moment. Maybe even tapping into your intention. What is your intention for the next half hour or so? What do you hope to gain? And I'm going to suggest that you remember the 1, 2, or 3 words, the phrase you might come up with when you're setting your intention for this call. As we might come back to it later, see if you can articulate in your mind why you're here on this call today. You can take another deep breath if you like, as you begin to open your eyes and be present with me. Be present with yourself and for all of us on this call. And for those of you who care to, in the chat box, you can go ahead and type in your intention for being here. And if you like, where you're from. So welcome to you. And some of you have been joining me for many of the meditations, and I'm sure we have some new people here, and I'm really excited you're here. Our goal here is to find a moment of connection, even with our social distancing, and emphasize really what we want to pay attention to kind of counterbalance the anxiety, the stress, the fearfulness, the concern over our mortality or our well-being, or the concern over our community or our economy or our finances. So because we know that if we really look in this moment, you're probably okay. If you're on this call right now, we know that you're alive and breathing. We know that you're able to get onto a call to connect with us. There are over 40 of us on the call right now. And if you look deeply inside, you'll find there is this unshakable center point of peace. This unshakable center point of peace. And even while the external world changes and the news changes and the virus changes and our limitations on our movement changes, there's a part of you that is unchanging, even while the landscape changes. And that's the part of us that we connect to or yoke to in meditation. Meditation's from the yoga tradition, some people would say. It's also from a variety of other spiritual and religious traditions. But the word yoga means to yoke your attention. Whether you want to yoke your attention to that unshakable center point of peace that you feel is inside you, or whether you need to yoke it to maybe some higher power or some divinity, some God or a God that you are feeling is present for you. But there's that yoking that we all need to do in this moment, sort of to tether ourselves to the understanding that, this too shall pass. And in this moment, I am okay. And all is well. Even though the mind wants to prove that it isn't well. The mind loves to come up with all kinds of drama. It loves to activate the amygdala, that fight or flight response, because some of us, let's face it, are addicted to that drama. What I notice about meditators, however, is that meditators tend to be a little less dramatic, or they get a little less of a hit from drama, someone else's or their own. In fact, some people would say meditators are a little more even keel. And it's not that we're not interested or excited, but we know that the excitement that comes and goes, it changes, so we're not attached to it. We're not attached, although we can feel it very deeply. It's like being an actor or an actress on the stage. If you are playing a role, you can really engage in that role with great fervor and excitement and really take it on and embody the qualities of that particular character, whether it's a Hamlet or a sitcom. And then when the show is over and the play is done, you go back to you. And so that's what we start to notice as we start to engage in these dramas that are going on all around us, that there's part of us that is untouched by it. In Sanskrit, you might call it the Atman. In English, we might call it your soul or your spirit or your center point of peace. And meditation helps us to move from the waves of activity and the ever-changing landscape to going a little deeper beyond the surface. We talked earlier on our last meditation how we move from the top of the waves of the ocean and we start to dive deeper and deeper into just the simple flow of the tides, and ultimately not affected by what's going on in the surface. So I know some of you are new to meditation and probably are thinking, well, I can't do it. And I'm glad you checked in. And while others of us are long-term meditators, I've been meditating 30 years, and even in the midst of challenges and changes in the world, sometimes I forget that I know what to do. And so I'm glad I'm here to help you and to remind you, and you're reminding me, what can I do when I'm feeling off center or untethered? And sometimes what can happen is we can do a practice that helps to reset our nervous system, and we can come back to our new normal, the new normal of being less reactive and more responsive, less distracted and more engaged, more present, and even slowing down. The Navy SEALs always say, you slow down to speed up. You slow down to speed up. If you want to go smoothly to speed up. They swim in the ocean. They have to go somewhere quickly and undetected. And they say, smooth is slow, or smooth is fast. Smooth is fast. And what does that mean? It means when we are less resistant to the way things are, we are more efficient. And so that's what meditation and mindfulness can give you, is more efficiency and more smoothness so we can navigate the world with ease. Let me see what I want to share just a couple of quick points about the meditations we've been doing. I always say that there are 5 ingredients to every meditation. And the first ingredient is your willingness to do it. And as I asked you in the beginning of this call to consider what your intention is, in Sanskrit it's called a sankalpa. It's a resolve. Maybe you're resolving to feel better or to take care of your mental health or to relax your nervous system so your immune system is optimized. Whatever your resolve is, that is the first ingredient to every meditation, is this resolve and this willingness to do it. The second ingredient to any meditation is your non-judgmental, gentle attention. Your non-judgmental, gentle attention. It's almost that same attention you might give to the leaves that are blowing in the wind or the clouds that are floating by in the sky. It's kind of a bearing witness to, but not attachment to what's going on. So with meditation, you don't need Jedi powers of concentration, because meditation might give you that, but you just need to be who you are. And so you need your resolve and your willingness to do the practice. You need your gentle, non-judgmental attention. And this is important as you navigate your meditation. So you're not clinging to anything, and you're not resisting anything, and you're not judging yourself. And then the third ingredient for any meditation, for most meditations, is what you put your attention on. Now, there are some meditations that are called open awareness practices. And those meditations, you don't have a particular steady focus. But for the ones we're going to do today, we're going to use a steady focus. Now, a lot of people have a lot of questions in this particular environment and in the world of this pandemic. You know, who's got it? When will I get well? When will the stores open? When will I be able to buy toilet paper? When will I be able to connect with my family and friends? When can I get that coronavirus test? When will it all be over? And many of these answers will be found maybe on Google, maybe on the television. But there's a set of questions that we can ask ourselves that we will never be able to find outside of ourselves. And that's what I want to work with you on today, is working with the practice of self-inquiry. You know, you're the wise one. You're it. And when we outsource our wisdom or outsource our happiness or outsource our sense of security, we're in a very unstable place to be. And you could probably feel that. So what I'm going to suggest we do is to start asking ourselves some questions. Now, the practice of self-inquiry is ancient. You know, like those questions maybe you've even asked as a kid, who am I and why am I here, right? Now, try and Google the answers to that. You might get a couple of crazy blogs or somebody's idea of who you are and why you're here. But in general, we're going to ask ourselves some of these questions, just like I asked you in the beginning, you know, what is your intention for being here? So I thought we could go first into a mindful meditation practice where we pay attention to the body, to the breath. And then we'll move into a self-awareness practice where, well, all of it's self-awareness, isn't it? We'll move into a heart-centered practice where we start to draw the attention right here into the center point of view. And if I ask you right now to point to yourself, most of us would point right here in our heart center. Most of us don't point here or here. We point right to the heart when we say I and we mean it. So that could be the location of your center point. Somewhere in there, maybe it's in your hara, in your belly, it could be in your diaphragm, but it could be in your heart center. So we're going to do that heart-centered breath where you bring your attention to that center point of view, right behind your breastbone, and imagine the breath moving in and out of that center point of view. So I'm going to guide us into this. We'll be meditating for about 15 minutes. Does that work for you? We'll do a self-inquiry practice. Well, first we'll start with mindfulness, then the heart-centered breath, and then self-inquiry. And I just want to let you know that in the self-inquiry practice, sometimes the answers don't meet the question. It doesn't mean you're failing, because you've got to ask the questions anyway. And, you know, at some point in time when you're walking through the world, taking a shower, going for a mindful walk, or eating a mindful meal, the answer might meet the question if you're staying alert and present. So I invite you to close your eyes if you like. Ideally, you'll be sitting with your eyes closed and relatively still. However, if you need to open your eyes as we do this practice, I invite you to do that, look around, and then go ahead and close them again. That makes you feel good. You can scratch an itch if you have one. You can shift around in your chair if you need to. Now, some of you can't close your eyes or sit up comfortably. You don't have to sit completely erect. You can simply sit upright, leaning back against your chair. And some of you might need to open your eyes and keep them gazing towards the floor. It's up to you. You just decide what's comfortable, because comfort is key. So let's begin by closing the eyes if you can and taking some deeper breaths through your nose. This sends a signal to your body that it's time to relax as you deepen your breath and move from the fight or flight response to the rest and digest response. The body knows it can relax if you're able to get that air all the way in your lungs. And then you can let your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth. Throughout the practice, your breath might change. It might get faster or slower, or deeper or shallower. However it shows up is perfectly fine. No need to control it. As a matter of fact, there's no need to control anything. And as your mind wanders in the meditation, we're simply going to invite it to come back to the focus, whatever it may be at the time. So let's begin by scanning the body, becoming aware of sensations without telling ourselves a story about them. Maybe you feel warm or cool, light or heavy, tense, relaxed. Simply notice sensations without a story. Noticing where your hands are and where your feet are. Softening your face and letting your shoulders drop a little. Letting your belly be soft. And surrendering right to this moment, right to the support of this whole Sangha, this community that's joining us. Becoming aware now of your breath. Sometimes when we focus on the breath, it can change slightly. It's perfectly fine. Simply become aware of the inhale and the exhale. Noticing the nuances of the breath. The movement and the stillness. Maybe you can hear the sound of it. And feel the way your body responds to the breath. Becoming aware of the inhale. Becoming aware of the exhale. Whenever your attention drifts away, come on back here. This is the time of your life, right now. I am aware I am breathing in. I am aware I am breathing out. And bringing your attention now to the gentle rise and fall of your chest. And just behind your breastbone, you can get a sense of yourself. Perhaps you feel some warmth or see some light, or simply let your attention rest there. You're not particularly visual or feel anything in particular. Imagining, if you want, that the breath is moving in and out of the heart center. It's activating the qualities of the heart. Connection, compassion, discernment, wisdom, love. And as you continue to breathe with your attention on your heart center, we're going to begin by asking ourselves some questions silently. The first question you can ask yourself is, who am I? Who am I? Ask yourself a couple of times silently, and then return to the stillness, back to the breath. There's no need to make up an answer. Sometimes the answers are spontaneous. You feel them, see them in your mind's eye, or hear them. Sometimes they're left with a silence. We'll introduce another question now. What is my heart's desire? What is my heart's desire? What do I long for? Ask yourself a few times and return to the stillness. Letting that question go and any answers that may have met it, we'll ask ourselves another question. How can I best love myself? How can I best love myself? And the last question for this inquiry is, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And then let your attention return to your breath, being sure your body is still soft. Letting the breath flow easily in and out. letting it be the anchor for your attention right now for the next minute or two, and I'll keep track of the time. And now bring to your awareness your desire, the one we thought about before, the one at the beginning of the call, that your whatever that desire is or intention is for being here today. And imagine that it has manifested. Just try it on in your imagination, that you have what you want. Notice how you feel when you already have what you want. Notice how your body responds, even in your imagination, that you already have what you want. And now, think of somebody that you know is in need. Maybe someone you heard about on the news or someone in your immediate circle. Could be even an animal or an ecosystem. And see if you can send that being the same blessing that you just received. So if you were looking for wellness, offer it to them. May you be well. If you're looking for peace, may you be peaceful. Giving it away, the best way to receive anything. And then returning your attention back to the breath. We'll be coming out of meditation now. Keep your eyes closed for a moment. I'll be sounding one of my favorite bells or chimes to take you out. So it's always important to come out of meditation slowly and mindfully. Just as you wake up in the morning, hopefully slowly and mindfully savoring that in-between time, that yummy experience before the to-do list takes over. It's being in that open awareness, letting yourself be present to what's around you. Maybe things are a little brighter. Maybe life is a little sweeter. I want to thank you for being here on this call, and I would love, I'm just going to share a few of our collective desires. Let's see, we've got community, support, acceptance. We have people here from Virginia and Argentina, peace from Knoxville. Hi, Jamie. Sherry is the intention to have moments of gratitude during the day for what you already have. Laura, she sounds like she's intention is to maintain calm and peace during these meditations. We have someone from Hobart, Tasmania. Hi, Regina. We have someone from London, Ontario, and her intention is to calm her fight and flight, and hopefully you feel a little of that. If we can string these mindful moments together, these relaxed moments together, it's a really beautiful antidote to the activation of fight or flight. Here's one. My intention is to remain a clear channel to help other people heal. And someone from Waterloo, Ontario, and wanting to be present, connected, and focused. And someone from San Francisco to reconnect with the body. You know, it's such a beautiful time right now to reconnect with the body. I think a lot of us, when we hear about potential for being sick, we think, am I healthy enough? Am I at risk? And I believe that many of us really are reevaluating that. And you know, our body is just an extension of our environment. And I've recently heard, and I put it on my Facebook page today, I wonder if I can find it, this beautiful sentiment this woman shared. Let me see if I can find this. Oh yes, here it is. Since the lockdown, Venice's canals have become crystal clear. Italy's coasts have dolphins coming nearer and nearer. Japan now has deer roaming free in the streets, and in Thailand, the same with the monkeys. China has record-breaking pollution cuts, and the earth has already begun showing signs of amazing things that are happening from the absence of human pollution. What if the entire human population used this moment as an opportunity to restart society on a greener, more environmentally conscious foot? What we're seeing in the span of the last couple of days is a pipe dream. This was a post by Gina Mayer. She is a children's book author, from what I can understand. I don't know her, but I saw this and I thought, well, how hopeful is that? How beautiful is that? That we get to reevaluate, that we have enough, that we don't need to go anywhere, that we can slow down, that we can be in communion with each other, that we can put our spiritual practice first, and we can ask, how can I serve? So for those of you light workers out there and healers and yoga teachers, don't forget to put your oxygen mask on first before you try to save the world, and keep your spiritual practices going, as I will do the same, because it's a great time to be of service. This is a great platform to use. Facebook Live is also a great platform, and also picking up the telephone, if you still have one of those that you pick up and dial and call people at their homes and see how they're doing. People that you maybe haven't connected with in a while. I know I've been doing the same. So I don't know, I'm going to stop the recording now, I think, and I'll just put this on our YouTube and invite you again tomorrow at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern.